Hey there, good afternoon. Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Holly, and today we're taking a little walk. Last of the snow is finally going away. It's April 1st. It's sort of the temperature's not bad, but the wind is pretty brutal right now. Hopefully the mic is not picking that up too much since it has a dead cat. But I'm just walking on my road, and I've been doing this after work for a couple weeks now, and I usually have the dog with me. I usually have Wiggo with me, but today I don't, just because I knew it was going to be kind of muddy, although the road doesn't look too bad right here. So there's Mount Cube. So I wanted to come on here and make a little announcement. April 1st is the first day that you can access the state park campgrounds to reserve a campsite for only one night. Prior to April 1st, once the season ends in the previous fall, you can only reserve online for 3 nights together. And I need just one night in a couple different campgrounds. So I called first thing this morning at 8 a.m. when Reserve America offices open and everything's been reset for the new season, meaning you're allowed to make a reservation for just one night at a campground instead of the 3. And I made my reservations to hike the Cohos Trail this summer. So if you don't know, the Cohos Trail is about 170 miles. It starts in the southern terminus is Crawford Notch, and the northern terminus is the Canadian border. And I am going to go SOBO from the Canadian border south to Crawford Notch. And so I reserved my first night at Deer Mountain State Park, and I've reserved another night at a private campground, which is Mountain View Cabins and Campground. And then I reserved another night in Coleman State Park. And the rest of the nights I'll be in either shelters that are on the Cohos Trail, or I'll be wild camping when I'm in the White Mountain National Forest. So from the northern terminus until you basically hit Route 110, you're required to stay at designated sites. So either campgrounds, private or state funded or state run, or the shelters that are provided on the Cohos Trail. Once you hit Route 110 and cross over that, you're basically in the White Mountain National Forest. So you can wild camp based on the White Mountain National Forest rules. Sorry, I've been going up a hill. Whew, a little out of breath. And that brings us to why I'm doing these walks. I need to start getting in shape. And so I've been doing 2.5, 3 miles after work, if time permits, for the last couple weeks. And Wiggles has come with me every day up until this one. The last one we did was really, really muddy, and he just was a mess. And I was afraid it was going to be really muddy this time too, so decided I was not going to bring him. But it's actually not too bad. Of course, I haven't gotten to what was the really muddy part before. So this hike along my road is obviously not the same as hiking in the mountains. And yeah, it does get a little bit muddy along here. So I'm stopped for a minute. But the reason why I started to do these hikes is I got a new Garmin Instinct 2S. The S indicates small, not solar. So it's the 40 millimeter in deep orchid. My Fitbit was on its last leg. I've had it for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. The screen is cracked in a whole bunch of places. And it's been that way for probably 3 or 4 years. And so I finally decided I just needed to get a hiking watch. So yeah, I'm really happy with it so far. And yeah, let me keep walking here. I think it's just going to be just so much better to have than the Fitbit on trail. I mean, the Fitbit isn't waterproof or anything, and honestly, I'm forever hitting that screen on something, which is why it's cracked in so many places. I'm surprised it even still works. In 2023, I attempted the Cohos Trail, and I had planned pretty well, but I don't think I had done enough hiking up until, like when I started, because obviously I'm working full time still, so it's not like I can do a whole lot of hiking before I start a trail like that. But I did do a lot of road walking on my road and weekend hikes, but with renovations on my house, a lot of weekends are taken up with that, a lot of evenings are taken up with that, and I just didn't really do as much as I probably should have. And not to make excuses, but 2023 was the wettest summer on record. We were deluged with rain. I mean, we literally had only a couple days in June and July without rain. I mean, literally, it was like rain every single day. We had major washouts everywhere because there were some days where we got inches and inches of rain in a very short period of time. The ATV trails, I know the ATV trails in Maine had over $9 million worth of damage. With washed out bridges and just washed out trails. New Hampshire probably had not that much, but up there as well. I mean, the trails are still literally recovering from it because the bridges are just, they're not cheap to build, and you need all those permits and stuff, which aren't cheap. And anyway. So I headed out on the trail, and First day was a breeze. First day is just a little over 6 miles to Deer Mountain State Park. Had a good day. Got wet several times from either rain or just from really tall grass that you're hiking through and all the water. But I mean, my clothes dry quickly. It wasn't an issue. I wasn't bothered by it. For the most part, it wasn't too terribly muddy. Day 2 was a different story. Day 2, the mud was just horrible. And northern New Hampshire up there the mud is like this black suck you in mud and just won't let you go mud. And you literally have to fight to pull your foot out of the mud every single step. And I was just exhausted. I got to the shelter like at 10:30 at night. I was so exhausted. I didn't even want to bother putting my hammock up. I had no. I think I was using the sort of accordion closed cell foam pad, and that's all I had. And I just literally laid that down in the shelter, laid my hammock on it, unzipped the bug net. Rufus and I got into it, and that's where we slept. And it was a horrible night's sleep. I was so uncomfortable, but I was also so exhausted. So it was just a bad night overall. I mean, I didn't even do anything with my food. It was just, everything was just in the shelter with me. I just was so exhausted when I got there. And a moose went tromping through camp in the middle of the night, which I didn't care. At least I think it was a moose. I don't know. Something went tromping through camp. It definitely wasn't a deer. And I'd heard a moose like, maybe 15 minutes earlier calling from not too terribly far away. So I'm pretty sure it was a moose. Anyway, got up the next day, trudged on, and the next day was just horribly bad as well. Huge blowdowns, despite the fact that the trail had just been checked and cleared just probably only a week before. So not disparaging on the people who maintain that trail at all, because they would do, I don't even know how they get to some of those trails with the equipment they have to use. But there were some huge blowdowns. I mean, blowdowns you couldn't even, you'd find a way around, but then you had no idea where the trail was. And there were other places where you had no idea where the trail was because the blazes are so far apart, you can't see one from the next. And you'd come to the spot where it looked like 3 different trails because of the water runoff had just completely cleared everything to bare ground. And you had no idea which way you were supposed to go because there were no blazes. So day 3 was not good. Day 4 was just a repeat of that. I'd spent 3 days trudging through horrible mud. I was exhausted. Day 4, I didn't even get to the designated campground because it was like a 15.5-mile day, and I did not get there. I ended up illegally camping at about 9:30 at night because I just couldn't go any farther. I was exhausted. I was tripping a lot. I knew I was going to end up falling and hurting myself. So for safety reasons, I just said, fuck it. If they never let me come back to the Cohos Trail because I've illegally camped, I'm all good with it, honestly. Anyway, so yeah, So I felt part of it was I was not like physically prepared in the sense that I hadn't been hiking a lot. In 2023, I hadn't been backpacking a whole lot yet at all, really. I mean, I'd done overnights, but that was it. So it was my first like actual backpacking, like long hike. And so I'll admit that I probably wasn't as prepared for it physically as I should have been. And the mud just mentally destroyed me. It just really did. So I'm better prepared for that this year now. I know that I am probably going to run into a lot of mud. I know that it's going to get tough. And I've learned how to sort of overcome that better in my mind. Like today, for instance, I did not want to walk today. I just didn't. I didn't want to mess with having to clean the dog up when we got back. The wind is bitter cold. I just really didn't want to. And I thought, no, I got to do it because every day I need to do something I don't want to do to mentally prepare me for the Cohos Trail. So that's part of what I'm doing. It's just the mental, I will do something every day that I do not want to do. And that will get me in the right mindset to not quit the trail, I think. So day 5, I woke up that morning. I called my brother, asked if there was any way he could pick me up at Coleman State Park. He said, sure. It was several hours drive for him, and I still had like 5 miles to hike, so I got to hiking, he got to driving. We got there around about the same time. And I didn't hurry on the way there because I knew he had a long drive. But I was so very thankful. And I know that was a huge disruption in his day. And a lot of money and gas for him to come and get me. But I was so appreciative. And so the 5th day, day 5, when I hiked from where I had illegally camped to Coleman State Park, was a good day. It was beautiful weather. It wasn't too terribly muddy. In fact, it wasn't muddy at all, really. And, I kind of pondered at some point, should I keep going? And I thought, no, you know what? I don't think I'm ready for the Kilkenny, because the Kilkenny was definitely worrying me. And the fact that I already felt so beaten by the mud, I didn't think I was ready to take on the Kilkenny Ridge. So I think I'm better positioned this year mentally to take it on. So I'm excited. I did film, what I did on the Cohos Trail in 2023, but I never posted it. I think because I was just so defeated. But this year, I think, regardless of whether I finish the trail or not, I think I will be posting videos. Hopefully I will finish. There were several people that quit in 2023. In fact, there were 2 brothers that were a couple of days behind me. And on one of my posts that I made on the Facebook page, one of them said, somebody had made some comment about the fact that I quit. And that doesn't bother me. I don't care. And one of the brothers said, me and my brother were 2 days behind her, and we quit before her. And the fact that she got as far as she did is like no small tribute to her tenacity and whatever. It was basically something along those lines, what they said. And there was somebody else that also said the same thing, that they were behind me and they quit earlier than me because the mud was just so bad. So there were quite a few people that quit that year. There was a person who started before me that was trying to do a fastest known time, and she quit because the mud was just slogging her down so bad that there was no way she was going to beat the the current fastest known time. So I don't know if she ever went back to do it or not, but anyway. So yeah, there we go. There's my little announcement. This video is now way longer than I expected it to be. And my walk is much slower than I wanted it to be. But I did go farther than I did, so I know I think I'll hit over 3 miles on this walk. I've not started carrying weight yet. I will start doing that pretty soon. Start adding the backpack and a little bit of weight and up the weight every few days. But for right now, especially with this wind, I'm kind of wearing different clothes than I would be if I was actually hiking. So, I mean, I have my snow boots on, so those are not what I would normally hike in. I will have some videos coming out before my hike. It is a ways off yet. This is only April 1st. So a few months away before I hike the Cohos. But I will have some videos coming out for like what gear I'm taking and what my food plan is and all that stuff. That there's only designated sites where you can stay. And some of those days are short and some of those days are long. And when I say long, I don't mean long for like a through hiker that's got the trail legs already. I'm talking long for, you know, a 2-week hike that you don't have your trail legs yet. You know, and day 4 you're hitting a 15.5-mile day. So, yeah, that's the day I'm most worried about. And then I'll be on the Kilkenny Ridge, I think 2 days. I'm worried about that as well. I'm not worried about the whites. You know, I've hiked the southern part of that trail somewhat, you know, quite a bit of it. So I know what to expect there, and I'm all good with that. And my hiking mostly is in the whites anyway, so all good with that. But like I said, the Kilkenny Ridge, and then climbing down into and back up out of Dixville Notch has me a little concerned because I think that's a bit steep. But yeah, so anyway, again, I've rambled on too long, so thanks very much for watching. Have a wonderful evening and see you in the next video. Bye bye.